Yeah, I've been like really falling behind my emotes. Oh, well, part two. Pawnbroker customer. Somehow I didn't really think you were the sort of person who would use a pawnbroker, Miss Lestrade. Actually, she is exactly the type of person. Yeah, well, I am, right? I'm a Londoner, just like everyone else. That's a problem, isn't it? No, no, not at all. It's just that, well. Oh, I get it. I know what you're thinking. That thing probably don't even belong to her. They probably got it on the dive, didn't she? That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I can see it all written all over your Chevy Chase. Well, I might have been thinking something along those lines. You're not going to deny it, Mr. Naruhodo. Alright then, I'm just going to come out and ask you straight. Did you pawn things that you steal from other people? Well, I don't know how best to answer that, really. Um, suppose sometimes. You're not going to deny it either, Miss Lestrade. But not this time, alright, I swear. That thing belongs to me. The disc that Mr. Windybank is holding. Perhaps we should see what he has to say about all this. Look at Mr. Windybank watching diligently over his shop. There are still many things I'm curious about. I don't believe this is time for browsing, Mr. Naruhodo. Should probably see whether that argument's been resolved yet, I suppose. Mr. Windybank, what exactly is this metal disc that Miss Lestrade has brought in? It seems to have hundreds of tiny little bumps on it. On its surface. Ah, this is a music disc, you see. For use inside a music box. A music box? What? You don't even know what a music box is? You Eastern lot ain't too savvy, eh? I know what a music box is, I just never seen one of those discs before. I'm just chilling here with my ED. The small proportion of the metal disc can code into tune and play it in the box. You simply insert the disc and set the machine going, and beautiful music plays. It's so incredible. Tell us, what tune is on this disc? Well, I'm afraid I couldn't tell you that. There are so many different types of music box, you see. British made, German, Swiss. I have no way of knowing which particular machine is this disc was made for. Ah, I see. And that's it in a nutshell. I wouldn't have any customers for an item like this. If the young lady forfeited it. Really, I'm already offering more than I should at a penny. That's a pack of lies. He told me he did. He said it was, well... Yeah, not a hodo. He, who? Never you mind, it just ain't right, that's all. The disc's worth good money, I know it is. Well then, you'll have to try your luck at another pawnbroker's, won't you? Ah. She's been in before, of course, a little chatter medallion. I see. And what brought some dubious article or other with her every single time, I might add. Dubious? What are you trying to say? I'm an honest customer, me. So, is there something dubious about the disc that she brought in today? Well, if only it were that simple. Sorry, what do you mean? What she actually brought in was a storage ticket. A storage ticket? So, Miss Lestrade has actually come to redeem an article from you today, is that right? Yeah, that's right. A girl like me's got a lot of stuff what needs storing. Alright, yes, that's definitely dubious. The article in question would have been forfeited at midnight tonight, but if she gave me a ticket for it and repaid both the loan and the interest, I was obliged to return the article to her. But what was the article? Do tell us, Mr. Windybank. The little scamp is wearing it, madame. The handkerchief? The overcoat that you redeemed. Oh. What? What's wrong with that? Fits, don't it? I mean, it's mine. Of course it does. So, what about the disc then? How did that come into all of this? Ah, the disc is something else. A new article to pawn if the girl and I can agree to a price. You can see eventually. Naruhodo. I'm confused. I thought you said that Miss Lestrade brought in a storage ticket today. It's really quite simple. Yes, the child brought me a storage ticket, and the money owed to it, as you say. For this heavy black coat which you returned to her care, I understood it. That's right, yes. And rather unsurprisingly, as soon as the little ragamuffin put the thing on, she went rifling through the pockets. Oh, you mean... What? Do you know it's rude to stare at a lady? Oh, I get it. I see. So it came from the pocket of the overcoat, did it? She stole... She pickpocketed someone's ticket and then went to here, unpawned it for the amount, and then checked to see if there was anything of value. And then tried to get money for it. You then return the coat, and that it's gone forever. I see, so it came from the pocket of the overcoat, did it? If you mean this disc, then yes, exactly, ma'am. And she immediately tried to pawn it, for quite a high price as well. That's all rather suspicious, I think. Give it up, I'm just trying to pawn something like anyone else would. Miss Lestrade, may I ask who deposited the overcoat here in the first place? That's exactly what I was thinking. Well, me. It doesn't really appear to be your size. Me, old man, it's me, old man's, ain't it? Is it, Miss Lestrade? Yes, this is definitely all rather suspicious. Out of my way, please. Oh, no. Who is this picture postcard English gentleman? Good day to you, ladies, gentlemen. What's the problem, eh? There is no problem, as long as you remove yourself. I've a matter to discuss with the proprietor. And if you intend to make a problem of it, I shall see you outside, little girl, for the hiding you deserve. Look, ain't it obvious? I ain't done talking with him yet. If you think you're such a gent, you should know how to wait in line. Well, you are an impudent little brat, aren't you? As well as a pickpocket. Eh? Who are you? How do you know who I am? The question is, how do you not know who I am? You haven't the courtesy even to remember the faces of your victims, it seems. What? You mean from you? Broker. Yes, sir. I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you, no? Yes, the article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Oh my. Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel, and needless to say, any music box discs too. No, you can't have it. You just can't. It's me old man's, or it was, now it's mine. Goodness, Mr. Naruhodo. This is a very awkward situation. Yes. I think perhaps we should hear both sides of the story in a little more detail. Excuse me, but who are you? And one would expect the inquirer to introduce himself first. Though clearly you are not British, so perhaps our ways are foreign to you. Oh, sorry, yes. We're from the Empire of Japan. We're studying here. Oh, yes, Japan. I've heard talk of the place. Its inhabitants live on some fiery brown-colored soup dressed up in exotic spices. You might be thinking of somewhere else. And what was that theoretical gesturation about? Perhaps, anyway, if you are a gentleman, sir, you offer your own name first before inquiring after the name of another. Of course, yes. I'm Runosuke Naruhodo. I'm a lawyer, well, a student of law, really. My name is Sasato Mikotoba. I am Mr. Naruhodo's assistant. I see. My name is Benedict, yes, Eggert Benedict. Ansante. He's so refined in how he holds himself and how he speaks, but that name is suspicious. Now to the matter at hand. My overcoat, return it at once to someone with style to carry it off. Grr. Every move he makes, every breath he takes, I can't stand watching him. I'll be watching you. Sure. Miss Lestrade is what the gentleman is saying. What do you think? It's all lies, ain't it, obviously? I swear on my life I ain't never laid eyes on that dandy before. Let's hear it now, you little ragamuffin. You stole it, didn't you? That ticket you brought in here just now. No, I swear it, I swear to God. I was barely an hour ago, I was walking along the street minding my own business, when this little gutterling ran into me. I knew at once what had happened. I've been robbed yet again, I thought to myself. Those wretched pickpockets. You yet again. Oh yes, as you can see, I'm a man of impeccable style. This isn't the first time I've been targeted by these backslum scoundrels. Now then, relinquish my overcoat. Grr. Come along now, Miss Lestrade. Give the good gentleman his coat back. If you're going to cause trouble, I shall have no choice but to call the police. Hold on, why does everyone think it's me? Just look at this dandy cove and you think I'm the dodgy one. I'm sorry, but no one's going to believe you. Well, what about evidence? Yeah. Where's your evidence that I've stolen something, eh? Come on, let's see it. Oh, I have evidence, naturally. You what? I'm curious what it is, too. Evidence of the article Miss Lestrade redeemed actually belongs to this gentleman. Of course, we need only consult Mr. Windbreak's ledger to know the truth. We'll be able to look up the name of the person who deposited the article in the first place. Yes, brilliant. I'm very sorry, but I'm afraid that won't be possible. Oh. I never ask customers' names. That's a strict policy of mine. But why not? Well, now, as you can imagine, some of my customers have circumstances to consider. A great many of them prefer to maintain their anonymity. Yes, I see. But then how can you know if the article belongs to a person and ask you to redeem it? By giving a ticket. Oh, it's quite simple. Good sir, might I trouble you for the watchword associated with the article in question? Of course. It's Professor. Yes, that's right. And all the evidence we need. This gentleman, the rightful owner of the article, without doubt, a watchword. Interesting. So, about those watchwords, Mr. Windbank. As I just explained, I never ask customers' names when they deposit items with me. There are many reasons why. Certain customers would like to keep their activities secret. That wasn't exactly a subtle glance at Mr. Sholmes now, was it? Great detectives have no dark secrets, none at all. Yes, well, anyway, that's why I always ask for a watchword whenever I accept a new article. In many ways, it's like the secret combination of the numbers used to unlock a vault. The data deposit, a description, and a watchword uniquely identify each item. And of course, then I give the storage ticket to a customer. When someone comes to redeem something, I ask for the ticket and the watchword. And if that someone tells you the correct watchword, you return the article? That's right, sir. Yes, just as soon as the requested fee is paid. And I have supplied you with the information you require already. But for the avoidance of doubt, the article in question is an overcoat deposited 2 months ago on the 15th of February. With a watchword of Professor. All perfectly correct information, sir. But how? Really, this is just beyond a joke now. There is no further room for doubt. Ugh. It doesn't even fit him. Like, it doesn't even match. So, let that be an end to the matter. And thank you for your custom, Mr. Egbert Benedict, sir. With such reasonable rates of interest, I may even decide to come back. Tisk, this is why I hate grown-ups. Because I'm a diver, everyone thinks that makes me a liar. And the contents of the coat pockets, if you please, Baker? But of course, sir, here is the disc for you. Just this one? Pardon, sir? I was expecting another, that is, I deposited another disc. Oh dear. I regret to inform you, sir, this is what was deposited with me was already an overcoat. The disc happened to be in one of its pockets, but I was completely unaware of it until now. So, Gutterling, you're hiding more of what's rightfully mine, are you? Says who, eh? I don't know nothing about it. Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell, say goodbye to style. Wait a minute. That disc is mine. What do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood. You filthy animal. Oh my, yes. There's blood on the disc. It's because of all those sharp little bumps. The man must have scratched his finger on them. I found it first, all right? I mean, it belonged to me, old man. So you're not having it. Oh, you take it. Me? If I hang on to it, they'll have it off of me again. So you keep hold of it. Miss Lestrade, why is it just so important to her? The music box disc has been entered into the court record. You there, in the black livery. Hand that disc over to me, please. Oh, there's a little scrap paper stuck on the reverse side of the disc. Look. And scribbled a word or two, it looks for somebody's name. Interesting! For McGildred. It couldn't be. But it is, Mr. Naruhodo. A name I shall never forget, for as long as I live. But why is his name on this? The music box this information has been updated to the court record. No, don't. He's lying. Grown-ups are all liars. What do I do now? How am I going to resolve this? Wow, Miss Lestrade is really looking daggers at that mysterious gentleman. We need to do something to calm things down before she loses control and attacks him again. Look at these piercing eyes. He's clearly in no mood to talk. We have to do something quickly, before this mysterious gentleman leaves to fetch the police or something. Mr. Windbreak is clearly at a loss here. We have to do something about this, before he reaches for that receiver of his. Yeah, I'll finish this segment and we will host Rolo. Revolver? Look at Mr. Winniebake watching diligently over his shop. There are still so many things I'm curious about. But somehow I don't really feel like this is the right time to be bestowing. Calming this fraught situation must be our first priority, and I'm fairly certain we can find just the great thing we need among the articles here in this shop. Mr. Sholmes, what are you examining with such keen interest there? Are you enjoying a bar of caramel, I see? So, you found me at last, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry. After that young pickpocket sent me on my way, I was forced to lurk in the shadows. Cruelly ostracized, while the rest of you partake in jovial atmosphere of fellowship. I had nothing to occupy my mind. I was too ashamed to let society see what my downfall had once done to me, so for in mock interest I pretended to examine the tedious trinkets in a desolate place, whilst, as you shrewdly observed, gnawing on the only friend I have left, the 7% solution of caramel. Pray, do you claim to understand the depths of my despair, Mr. Naruhodo, but how could you? I was so lonely, so desperately lonely. Then why on earth did you rejoin the conversation? Things have gone from bad to worse here, you know. Yes, I overheard much of your conversation. Or rather, in my craving for human contact, my ears devoured every word that was uttered. You really were sad, weren't you? Poor Mr. Sholmes, I feel simply awful for you. It would seem that my inferences are correct. Oh, surely you're not about to tell us that you've solved the entire case once again. My dear madame, sometimes I wonder, were my genius for deduction to be commoditized, how much could I pawn it for? It seems Mr. Sholmes has had another of his flashes of inspiration. Oh no. But who knows if it'll help resolve the situation between me and Lestrade and the mysterious gentleman. What's the right thing to do here? Here we go. Is this another deduction spectacular? Well, Miss Lestrade, it appears you find yourself in something of a predicament. Tisk, where's the blue blazes have you been, eh? Pardon. When a lady's in trouble, a true gent's supposed to be there to help. Straight away. Not an hour later. Harsh. And who, pray tell, are you? Mr. Egbert Benedict, you have, in my eyes, a veritable encyclopedia array of curiosities about your person. Nevertheless, there are two immovable conclusions I have drawn. I beg your pardon. The first is this. The true reason you visited a pawnbroker today is something you have not yet revealed. And the second is this. A considerable crime is in contemplation, one you will orchestrate with the intent to steal a vast sum of money. Well, Mr. Benedict, what say you my deductions? How? You turned as white as a hard-boiled egg. It would seem that once again, Mr. Sholmes has made a flawless deduction. Just who do you think you are, sir? Ah, yes, as I hoped. That is precisely the painted expression I was looking for. So, shall we begin? The time has come for another Sherlock Sholmes logic and reasoning spectacular. Alright, get ready, everyone. we're in for more shit. Mystery Man's aim. First of all, we must ask ourselves what business you ventured in the pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having his redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place? Staff recruitment flyer. No. Something on the backside. Piece of paper in your hand is a staff wanted advertisement from this very shop. Yet even the most unobservant would soon realize that a man of your appearance has no need of such employ. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. He hit it. Is he a magician? The cane in which you unwittingly clutch your person is against an incontrovertible contradiction. What utter rot! I've had this cane for years. AG! Contradiction of which, of course, missing for rule. The end of any walking cane would be terminated with a metal ferrule to protect the wooden tip. And yet, derailed analysis shows the wooden tip of this stick to be utterly bare. Therefore, there's only one conclusion. The rod that you hold in your hand, which appears to be a walking cane. Wait, who's AG? In fact, no cane at all. You recoil, sir? Is something wrong? And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer to the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding the riddle, you see. He's looking elsewhere. From the moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. What walking cane demands such a stout handle, missed I? He's so focused on the cane. But of course, as I said, it's no walking cane. No, that rod is the broken handle of a shovel. What? Are you insane? And now, having determined this undeniable truth, The conclusion is clear. Your true motive for coming here was to take employment at this establishment in order to exterminate the ground beneath the premises. What the fuck? This is even worse than his other one. At least I believe the snake slightly. Calculated crime you conceived through a wickedly calculated crime. That's way off. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, gentlemen, intend to excavate the ground beneath this pawnbrokery with a broken shovel? What on earth do you propose I could expect to find there? Some long-forgotten treasure, I suppose? Such for a fanciful theory, what possible reason could I have to do as you say? Oh, but there's an ample reason. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider what would motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this and covertly dig beneath its floor. I think he wants to go upstairs. The answer is revealed by the council notice on the counter which you eyes are irrevocably drawn. The letter gives notice of public works to be carried out in the local area. Or he's after the gun, and according to the enclosed plan of the upcoming sewage works, beneath this shop runs a sewer that adjoins another, one that runs under a bank on the opposite side of the road. This madness has entered the sewers now, has it? By excavating the ground beneath our feet, you would gain access to the waterway. That flows in very close proximity to the great vault of the financial institution opposite. What are you? In summary, sir, you devise a master plan to pull off an elaborate bank robbery by dint of underground tunnels. Master plan? What brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme? With what plunder did the thief hope to make off from the underground vault of the bank? Are you quite serious? Having consulted with Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. But naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, a picture postcard tells us all we need to know. A postcard of the Great Exhibition. I'm afraid you've quite lost me. You lost me too, man. Currently, in the final stage of the preparation, the Great Exhibition will soon be underway, and the government has provided extra funds to complete its centerpiece, the Crystal Tower. Funds that currently sit in the vault of the bank, on the other side of this road. Pardon. Yes, the considerable crime you have been contemplating is the theft of that which sits in the vault of the bank, the special reserve funds of the Great Exhibition. Of course, that is top secret police information, so keep it under your hat, please. I don't want to look at the conclusion. This concludes the great deduction of the pawnbroking puzzle. Sholmes. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, an impressively upbeat deduction for a detective racked with loneliness, would you not agree? Was it true what you said about the bank over the road and what it has in its vault? Indeed. Though few know its existence, it is one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. Gregson told me, in the strictest confidence. In the strictest confidence. But you just announced it to everyone here, rather loudly, in fact. Ah. And if it's such a big secret, how would Mr. Benedict have come to find out about it? There can be but one explanation for that. Clearly it's because the man is a criminal. But what he didn't know anything about the money in the vault. And if he's a criminal, as you said, then buying a brand new shovel is sure to be the first thing he does now that you revealed the secret. Oh. Or if he doesn't, maybe Mr. Windybank will. He already has plenty of shovels here after all. Oh, my life, I assure you I'm not so unscrupulous. Well, hopefully this has taught you a valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost of care. One can never be sure that someone's privy to secrets won't disclose them. And once the word is out, it's out. Perhaps I will think twice before confiding you the next time, Mr. Sholmes. An excellent idea, Naruhodo, an excellent idea. Ha 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 ha. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, you know what to do, I'm sure. Yes, let's listen to that great deduction again. We can manage it into shape. Very well then, let us start once more, from the beginning. Of Sherlock Holmes, magnificent. Logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Sholmes. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business have you entered into this pawnbrokery today? You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is a staff recruitment flyer. So, by Mr. Sholmes' reasoning, Mr. Benedict came here in order to apply for a job so that he could dig down through the floor. Ah, yes, and attempt to tunnel it into the sewers to gain access to the money in the vault of the bank across the road. But he wouldn't get very far with a broken shovel, would he? No, I think it's fair to say his motives lie elsewhere. The question is, where? What did Mr. Benedict hear at this particular point in time? Oh, look at all the scribbled notes on the back of the flyer here. I don't believe it. What is it? Listen to what it says. Name, Gina Lestrade. Height, 5'2". Green cap, scruffy waistcoat, grubby white shirt, blue satchel, rag. It's a detailed description of Miss Lestrade. Goodness, there's even a sketch of her hat and all. Although if you showed it to her, she'd fire that smoke grenade launcher in his face for sure. And look, the details of the shop have been written down here too. Winby Bank's Pawnbrokery, Baker Street, redemption deadline 15th of April, which is today's date. Why would Mr. Benedict have all that information scrawled on the back of that piece of paper?
Take that!
You know, I had a feeling he was conning the conner. Yes. What brought you to this shop in the first place? Info about Miss Lestrade. Quite so, my dear fellow. It would appear that the writing of the sketch in reverse of the flyer pertain to the pickpocket Miss Lestrade and to Mr. Windybank's pawnbrokery here. Ah. You originally told us that you had merely given chase to Miss Lestrade stole the redemption ticket from you. But that, sir, is a thinly veiled lie. Is that the information in the back of the flyer led you here today? By which I mean, here to Windybank's pawnbrokery, and today in the redemption deadline of that overcoat. So you waited outside for the young girl matching the description you have written down to arrive. And you have gone to some lengths to hide the reason for your pursuit of Miss Lestrade. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane in which you unwittingly clutched to your person exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. Whether or not, I've had the cane for years. The contradiction in which I speak is, of course, the missing ferrule. What's a ferrule? It's a metal cap commonly found on the end of the cane, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, the bit that makes the next cackling sound on the pavement. Yes, exactly. Mr. Sholmes is right. It appears to be missing on this cane. But it doesn't actually look broken, does it? No, it doesn't. Though the gentleman certainly did recoil when Sholmes identified the cane as suspicious. In other words, there's some secret about this cane that Mr. Benedict would rather we don't know. Look here, Miss Sasato. There are some letters on the handle. Ah, yes, those must be initials, I think. In the West, it's customary for people to engrave their belongings with the first letters of their names. And so Sherlock Holmes would be HS, you mean? That's right. And the initials on the cane, obviously. Oh, AG. Why does it feel as though that's not quite right?
Take that!
The contradiction of which I speak of is, of course, initialing. A most astute observation, wouldn't you say, Mr. Egbert Benedict? We are led to believe, sir, that you initials are EB. In the most possessive manner, you have in your grasp a cane bearing the initials AG. An incontrovertible contradiction indeed, would you not agree? No, you're wrong. The cane isn't... You said before that you had cane for years. So don't try to tell us that you just borrowed it from a friend and found it in the park. In short, though you held yourself to be a gentleman, you have withheld your true name. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? Well, And your recoiling you inadvertently facilitate the answer to the next conundrum that presents itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your action betrays the truth. The handle which you evidently would like to conceal is the key to understanding the riddle, you see. He's looking right. Let's consider the bare bones of what's happened here. Miss Lestrade redeemed a fine-looking overcoat. And now a mysterious man has appeared, introducing himself with a fake name, and claiming that the overcoat belongs to him. But we know that he actually identified Miss Lestrade from a written description, which suggests everything else he told us is untrue. Some prove the overcoat cannot possibly belong to him. Nice seam. Oh, the seam on the shoulder there is coming apart. Look, so it is. You know, a moment ago when Mr. Benedict was surprised by something that was said, I thought I heard him make a rather strange noise. Sounded a bit like a tiny growl. But now I think it was probably the sound of the seam ripping open. If you look closely, it does seem to be a very tight fit. The sleeves are stretched to bursting and he wouldn't have hope of fastening it at the front. If he were to run around in it, I'm sure the whole thing would fall apart. That I'd like to see. Sorry. So, how can we make Mr. Benedict run around? She's really giving this some thought.
Take that!
The split seam, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. Yes, because the overcoat is rather obviously a poor fit. Having forced it over your broad shoulders, the seam is already breaking apart. My suspicions were aroused from the outset. When you so boldly lied about your name, so boldly waylaid his pickpocket. This catalog of untruths has all been for one very specific purpose. To steal the article that the young girl redeemed from Mr. Windybank. But what really irks me is this. The considerable crime I initially imagined has been considerably curtailed. He wants whatever was in the pocket. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. We must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, gentlemen, designed a wheeze to fit some tawdry article of punnage? Have you forgotten that I redeemed the article in the proper manner using the watchword? Had I not been the one to deposit it in the first place, how could I possibly know the relevant details, n'est-ce pas? Oh, but the watchword can be discovered. As you are the only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider how one might come to learn a secret watchword relating to the pawned property of another. The method is revealed by the council notice on the counter which your eyes are inadvertently drawn. The direction of the deduction must change rather dramatically now, I think. Yes, no more talk of tunneling into the sewers, which is a pity because it all sounded rather exciting. Anyway, you can deny that this mysterious gentleman did know the watchword. Yes, Professor. If you don't know that word, Mr. Windybank would never allow you to redeem the article. Or, looking at another way, if you did know the word, Mr. Windybank would allow you to redeem the article whenever it was yours or not. So the question is, could this gentleman have found the watchword out somehow? Look at this, Mrs. Otto. It appears a memo that Mr. Windybank has scribbled in himself. Let's see, what does it say? Oh, Professor. Mr. Windybank must make a note of watchwords to his customers give him right before their eyes. And an alarmingly clear script as well. Oh dear. I don't know where to look. Who knows what other secrets I might see?
Take that!
The method is revealed by the notelet on the counter which your eyes are permanently drawn. Yes, the broker follows the same procedure whenever a customer comes to redeem an article. He asks the customer for a watchword and notes down the response uttered on a notelet he has to hand. Then he consults his ledger, determines whether or not the watchword matches that of the article in question. I would expect nothing less of a diligent pawnbroker. But a diligence clearly has its disadvantages. What are you talking about? It is increasingly apparent that you were present in the shop before your accusation against Miss Lestrade. In all likelihood, you followed her inside and then observed her talking to Mr. Windybank. When the diligent broker made a note of the watchword, as is common practice, you observed him writing the word professor on the notelet beside the ledger. And that, sir, was the master plan you devised to steal the pawned article from the young Miss Lestrade. Master plan. Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. Why would you go to such lengths to redeem that particular article from this pawnbroker? Are you quite serious? For an ill-fitting overcoat hardly seems to justify the effort, much less a worthless music box disc. But naturally, you had very good reason to make them yours, didn't you, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. Articles we're talking about are the overcoat and the music box disc that was in one of the pockets, which according to Mr. Windybank isn't even worth a penny, and yet this man went to such lengths to steal them. Why? I wonder if perhaps we already have the evidence we need to explain it, Nadahodo. Could we, really? I better have a thorough look through all the evidence we've collected so far. We listened to this already.
Take that!
You see, this music box disc tells us all we need to know. What's that? On the back. It reads, for Mr. McGildred. Ah, Mr. Magnus McGildred, the unfortunate philanthropist who perished in the curious circumstances of the Old Bailey 2 months ago. A prominent man in London, although his lone mongering demonstrated a distinct lack of scruples. So, you're an associate of his, are you? Or perhaps a subordinate? Mr. McGildred was a man of unusually small stature, in fact. He was precisely the right size for that overcoat that you squeezed yourself into. Your true identity remains shrouded in mystery, Mr. Eggert Benedict. But the final conclusion here is crystal clear. The reason you came to this pawnbrokery today was to retrieve an article left behind by the late Magnus McGildred. That begs the question, is McGildred actually dead? Well, well, Mr. Magnus McGildred, not a name I expected to hear in these circumstances. Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid there's something very troubling on my mind. Pray tell, Mrs. Otto. Well, according to what Mr. Windybank told us earlier, today was the final day of which the coat could have been redeemed, was it not? Yes, ma'am. That is correct. Today would be precisely 2 months since it was first deposited. Well, today is the 15th of April, so 2 months ago today would have been the 15th February, sir. That's right. It's all carefully recorded in my ledger. Deposited at 10:30 p.m., I see. What? But that suggests. Yes, 15th February. Precisely the day at which the omnibus murder took place. And 10:30 in the evening is precisely the time at which terrible events were unfolding. Suggesting that it's not the word, it would seem the matter is entirely beyond coincidence. You are, of course, at liberty to make whatever outlandish deductions you choose. However, I must insist that you hand over the music box disc now. It would be a terrible shame for you to return to your native land in a box. What do I do? Absolutely not. There are some things a man must protect at all costs. This may well be one of those things. Then again, it may not. I knew it! He had my back. This is my shop. I can't allow any harm to come to my customers. If that were to happen, I should have to take my own life. Mr. Windybank, no. Alright, that's enough. Inspector Gregson. Inspector. That's right, Sunshine. The alarm was raised once one of our dedicated emergency lines. So we got here as fast as we could. Now, what's all this about, eh? Oh, praise be, you're here at last. I was moments away from forfeiting my own life in my own very own establishment. It would seem we have the upper hand. Right, you lot have got explaining to do. I don't appreciate being bothered with some petty argabagi. Petty. Mr. Windybank very nearly met with his end. Yeah, by his own gun, as far as I can tell. Oh dear. And the whole of Britain could meet with its end. If I don't get to the bottom of the case I'm supposed to be working on. What? What on earth is the case, Inspector? Spare no detail, Gregson. I might have said a little too much. No matter, it's nothing to do with you lot. Anyway, sir, you're gonna have to come with me down to the station. But of course, Inspector. He's getting away. Get after him, lads. Whistle the beat officer, too. Sir. He ran away. There's been a spate of thefts at pawn shops around here recently, so we fitted emergency buttons underneath the counters for brokers to let us know when there's trouble. Oh, Inspector, I was very worried there for a while. Very worried indeed. Now then, Mr. Permanently in mourning. Oh, yes. I'll be taking that whatever it is McGilder's down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. Oh, yes, of course. No, don't give it to him. It's mine, that is. It's mine. I'm sorry, miss, but anything belonging to Mr. McGildred has to be taken as evidence now. As evidence? If the police demand something that is evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. You know, the blood on that disc might be our key to do everything. And so we hand the Miss Gilder disc over to Inspector Gregson, and we're very summarily turfed out of the shop and onto the street. Okay, we are stopping here for today. We will be back today, though. We are going to raid Roller Coaster. It is her birthday today, and as such, we must go there and wish her a happy birthday. And yeah, Rolo is a streamer friend of mine. We have been friends for a little less than a year. Actually, I think we hit the year anniversary. I met her playing Zero Time Dilemma and Virtue's Last Reward. So she's super into VN. She does Pokemon every Saturday. It would really mean a lot if you could copy whatever he just is rating down right now and give her some support as it's her special day. I don't ask her age. That doesn't go well. But I will tell you what goes well. Save up money on her channel and buy ASMR. You won't be disappointed. I'm gonna copy that myself here. Da-da-da-da. We will be back, and we will open those Pokemon cards when she is finished streaming. So I will be on her stream. Oh, I forgot to type roller coaster. Raid Rolo Coaster.